Hello there once again, fellow Zimbabweans. As most of you know that Boderekwa mountain is almost finished. A whole mountain, imagine, a whole mountain finished by the Chinese. China is everywhere, digging every single hole all over the country and not filling them up. Our cattle and our goats are falling into those holes, and our villagers are left with dirty water and diseases, and the lives of the Zimbabweans, the human rights, the human dignity of the Zimbabweans is undermined by the presence of the Chinese miners in Zimbabwe, the presence of the irresponsible Chinese miners in Zimbabwe. And Beijing is doing nothing about it. As long as Beijing is getting cheaper natural resources, cheaper mineral resources from Zimbabwe that are shipped, most of it they don't even pay for taxation, underpaying our people, disregarding our labor laws so that they can be able to produce cheap goods that they sell to Europe and America and produce cheaply for their Chinese military, so that one day they can boast that they have got the biggest military in the world, to eclipse the US military, to eclipse the US even politically, so that China becomes the new hegemon. Now here's the thing, when the Chinese Communist Party is calling the shots all over the world, communism will no longer be restricted to China and its allied countries, but communism will be a global order. The kind of communism which is apartheid also in nature. We know that Chinese citizens, those who come from the villages, need passports to go and live and work in the cities. There is a lot of discrimination even within the citizens of China. Imagine that country become the global superpower, defeating the the United States, that has been a force for good, that has been the promoter of democracy, the advancer of human dignity and human rights, the country that emancipated black people from slavery, the country that emancipated women and gave women their rights, the country that has advanced even the rights of multiple minorities, including sexual minorities, the country that has been liberal in nature and understanding the plight of the poor, the country that has been providing aid to weaker countries around the world. That USA today is under siege. They are under attack by a global communism, a kind of communism that the Chinese and the Russians are leading. We can pretty much tell what the so-called New World Order led by the Chinese and the Russians will look like, just by looking at how the Chinese Communist Party treats the citizens of China, and also how the Russian government treats the Russians. Take a look at the Russians who live beyond the Ural Mountains in Siberia. Those people do not even have rights at all, yet that is their land. They are Russians too. So we will see an increase in discrimination. I don't even want to talk about you black people, because under the Chinese and the Russians, black people's lives won't matter at all. You won't even have the space to even voice out. You are nothing. You're just black. You're dark. You're useless. Okay, so it is important when you see me supporting Washington. I am not saying that America is an angel, but there are human beings who, even despite the weakness of humanity, of the fallen man, they have still been able to advance humanity. Now, I do not want to see that human advancement going backwards. And one of the key countries that is being attacked in this regard is Israel. And we know that biblically, Israel is the chosen nation of the Lord to advance and to bless the whole world through the blessing of Abraham. And of course, that blessing of Abraham is not only for the modern day physical Israel, but it is also for us, spiritual Israel. We, the children of Abraham by faith, which is Christianity. Christianity is under attack in China. The Christians in China are not allowed to practice their religious rights without the interference of the state. Preachers have to preach the Chinese Communist Party's doctrine. Therefore, the Chinese Communist Party begins by inference is becoming God. So we're going to have a problem with that. Those who make themselves God, we do not worship men, we worship the Lord himself. So China is like the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel was built, it was big and looked magnificent, and those people thought that they were going to reach heaven. China also has built its beautiful, magnificent cities, and they have got all sorts of propaganda across the internet that makes it appear like, oh, these are the saviors that are going to save you people from the bloody Americans, whatnot and whatnot. All of it is foolishness that the Lord is going to bring down. The Lord is going to open the curtain, and then you will see the evil of the Chinese and the Russians. It is true that Vladimir Putin is not your friend. He has never been a friend of anybody and will not be a friend of anybody. Right now, Europe is under attack. Europe is under attack from the Russians. And Europe is having so many problems right now. There's too much problems in Europe. I don't even know where to start because they're very close to poverty. I feel sorry for the Europeans because we have seen that the African migrants that have been going to Europe, they've been facing all sorts of discrimination, being told to go back to Africa. But if I take a look at the economy of Europe and the way that Europe is going down, it appears to me in the future there's going to be a reverse migration of millions of Europeans coming back to Africa. For Africa in the future is going to be the place where everybody we want to be. We are the place that is peaceful. We are not taking part in their political warfare, in their nuclear warfare. We do have our own natural resources. We are not like Europe that relies on Russian gas that they can no longer get because Russia is at war with Ukraine. We have got our own gas in Africa. We have got our own coal. We have got all the resources that are necessary for human advancement and development. We can attract European companies that are finding it very difficult and very expensive to produce or to reside or to domicile in Germany or France or Europe. Africa is what those companies need to be. Hence, we need to reform. As African politicians, we need to reform in the mind, we need to reform in the heart. The politics of the future in Africa is not the politics of the stomach, but rather it is the politics of the village. What do I mean by that? The politics of advancing our villages, the politics of advancing our people, the politics that is superior to the politics of our fathers, who the so-called liberators, who really behaved like the old African chiefs that sold black people to slavery. It's the same thing that is happening today. We do need a cultural shift in the way in which we understand politicking and how we self-govern. Trust me, if we make the right political choices, the right political alignments, away with the Chinese and the Russians, and welcome the free world, so that we too who are oppressed can be free. Abide by the rules and norms of the free world, of advancing all sorts of humanity, all people, leaving nobody behind, leaving no little tiny despised group behind. Only if we are able to caution ourselves and tilt toward that direction, we are going to be blessed immensely. And as Zimbabwe, we need to be the front runners of this African renaissance, to show Africa what it will be like for a country to be full of light, a country to have the politics of the village, the politics of advancing our villages and stopping this abuse of people, using the natural resources of our people to advance our people, to develop the human capacity of our people, so that in the future we are no longer just relying on the natural resources for monetary value, but also the mind of our people, the intellectual capability and capacity of our people. We need to revamp the intellectual capacity of our people as a whole, and turn Zimbabwe into an intellectual paradise in which intellectual tourists could come and interact with our state in order to create world-changing ideas, from medicine, right, to technologies, be they be nanotechnologies, including this current race, this artificial intelligence race. We too need to jump in the line. And I do know that as Zimbabwe, if we align ourselves with the global voices that matter, that will win. We will be a winning team. So, my homework to you is to research and understand which winning team should we join in order for us to win as a country, not just as an individual. For those who seek individual gain, those are short-term gains. You might look victorious today, but in no time you are going to be overtaken by the tide of a global change. For the whole world is going to come under a change. A world order is going to be restored, that which belongs to the free world. And the world of oppressors will be crushed down once again. They failed in the First World War. They failed in the Second World War. They failed during the Cold War. And they are going to fail even on this one. Holy. Have a great evening.